Okay. Whoa, big night last night. Too much, did too much, drank too much. Need a bit of the hair of the dog. Jude, what's the hair of the dog? You had too much to drink, and the best thing for it, supposedly, is, to have another drink the next day. You'll feel better. But you know what? It's just not true. Don't buy into that. If you had too much to drink last night, you were not enjoying cocktails. You were just drinking. Come on, people. But that being said, welcome to Boozin' with Jude for the Bloody Mary edition. It's a lovely brunch drink. I used to have the Bloody Mary now I say used to, and I'll tell you why. I used to have the Bloody Mary if I was leaving, like on an international flight, and I was, at an airport in the morning. I would either get like a little Prosecco or champagne or a Bloody Mary. I stopped doing that with the Bloody Mary, though, because, women of a certain age, there's a lot of salt in that baby. And you get up there in that airplane and you got swelling in parts you just didn't know you had. So remember, it's a salty drink. What about the Bloody Mary? Where did it come from? Why is it called that? Kind of a disgusting name, right? Yes. There are many arguments about why it was named what it was, but I'm going with the Catholic one. So, 16th century, you got a guy named Henry VIII, and, he was the King of England. He was a little bit of a trouble man. So he had to, like, his brother was the king, and then he croaked. And Henry wanted to marry his wife. So he went to the church and said, hey, give me a dispensation so I can marry this Catherine of Aragon from Spain. It was all political back then. You wanted to be married to somebody royal from another country, so you didn't fight and you got each other's stuff. So the church said, yeah, go ahead. We don't care. Fine. Henry had a daughter. Well, okay, Catherine of Aragon had a daughter. Her name was Mary. And then what happened? He didn't get a son. He wanted a son because, the next son would be the next king. And they weren't too big on women being queens. So, then he said, well, I need to, divorce her and marry this woman with whom I'm having an affair, Anne Boleyn. Blah, blah, blah. Church said, no, we're not doing that. So Henry just said, well, you know what? I'm the new head of the Church of England, and, see you later, Pope. And I'm going to start my own church, which became like the Protestant Reformation in the 16th century. And when Henry died, Mary took over as queen. And she was pretty Catholic, like her mother from Spain. And so she reinstituted Catholicism to the best of her ability. And in the meantime, you know what? Some of the Protestants who had really worked to get rid of Catholics and had also killed their share of Catholics, they saw certain English torture mechanisms. And so they call her Bloody Mary. But, it could be named after somebody else. The drink comes about in the 1920s. And let's just say if it weren't for the 18th Amendment and the Russian Revolution, we might not have the Bloody Mary. Shoot, that sounds complicated. Why? What are you talking about? Well, it was created in France, of all places. You remember I said that Smirnoff, Mr. Smirnoff, ending with a V, went to France with his vodka and then bottled it and started spelling it with double F on the end. So because the Russian Revolution drove a lot of Russians to Europe into France with their vodka, number one. And then there's this thing called the 18th Amendment in the United States, prohibition, meaning, no alcohol for us, bummer. So here we are in France at a place called, was called Harry's Bar, famous place, not to be confused with the other one, but Harry's Bar in France, and there's a barman named Ferdinand Patois. Okay, I'm hoping I'm saying his name right. He's a Frenchman. So he's got this vodka, and he thinks it's very tasteless. Yeah, you know what? Remember we said it's kind of tasteless. It doesn't have a taste. And he's trying to make drinks with it, trying to figure out how to do something good. In the meantime, out comes canned tomato juice from America. They called it tomato juice cocktail to make it sound like, alcohol. So it was this Frenchman who put the two together, and voila, he has a drink. And it kind of went over well. And then a man named Astor, not John Jacob, I forget his first name, I forget which Astor, brings patois over to America to work at his bar in New York. And the Americans said, it's kind of bland, could you spice it up a bit? So he did. And they tried to call it the Red Snapper. That is actually a drink. It's like a Cajun Mary. So if you go down to Louisiana, Red Snapper, cool. Anyways, so it's big in America now, though. We have what we call Bloody Mary bars. Now, when I was in England, I tried to convince people, you got to do this. It's like the best thing. So you go into the bar, they give you whatever vodka you want with ice, and they pour it in your drink, and then they send you over to the bar. And there's 50 million types of mixers and spices and food to put in your drink. I mean, it's basically all about getting like a huge sandwich with it stuck on a skewer, and you mix your own. It's outstanding. It's outstanding. So that thing, the folks in London are like, it sounds really expensive. I'm like, yeah, but come on. Couldn't get them going there. But in America, it's very popular. So I'm going to show you how to make it. I'm not going to use a mixer. I'm going to show you my own. And you can do what you want. There are some really good mixers out there, and there's some kind of bland ones. You can buy a bland mixer, and you can spice it up. You can just use tomato juice, which I'm going to do, and you can spice it up. Some people like it with V8 or Clamato. Hey, you know what? To each their own. We all like it. Some of us love it really spicy. That's me. Some of us don't. So I've already got my glass. I rimmed it because I had to put some stuff in it. So it's rimmed with something that I actually bought because I like smoky stuff. This is a bacon salt mix. I didn't want to fry a lot of bacon, and I do that. But oh wait, I do have. Oh, you know what? We love to put bacon in our Bloody Marys because of the smoky taste. And here's another. Oh wait, no, this is not bacon. This is a bacon strip for my dog. Hey Max, would you like the bacon? She thinks it's bacon, but it's not. So we don't want to get those mixed up. Don't be putting the dog treats in there. You put the bacon in there. So there's bacon. There's a pickled asparagus in there. Some people like pickled okra, blah, blah, blah. And I got my little cheese and meats and olive stick to go on it afterwards. So Bloody Mary, piece of cake. Basically, it's vodka and whatever like tomato-y drink you want. And you're going to put it in a mixer, and then you're going to put it over ice. Okay, so strain it out of the mixer. I'm going to put some ice in here too. Get that ready. Because it's the things I'm putting in there, I really want to break it down. So first, this is like a little 5-ounce thing. And I'll probably put like 3 ounces of that in there. And I'm going to do 2 ounces of, and I'm still using my Grey Goose vodka. So we're going to start with the vodka, of course. Oop, get that ice in there. So again, interestingly, Grey Goose from France. So a little bonjour to Pat Patois, Ferdinand Patois. I think they called him Pat. I'm going to call him Pat because, I don't really know how to pronounce his first name. Okay, so then I'm not going to put all 5 ounces of this in there. I'll probably just put about 4 ounces and save a little bit because I don't want too much tomato-y juice in there. Now, what else do we put in there? Well, I like mine spicy. So celery salt is a big thing, okay? A lot of people like to put celery salt. Now, I'm not going to put regular salt as well because the tomato juice is loaded with sodium, folks. But I do put a lot of celery salt in there, okay? And then I like to put garlic salt in there. Now, if you don't like garlic, don't put it. Anything that goes good. Some people like to put like a little beef bouillon powder in there. Here's the cayenne pepper. Woohoo! We're going to be a little careful with that. Black pepper, cracked black pepper. Are you still with me? I know I can't talk and grind at the same time. Ooh, okay, don't say anything. Here's the key. Worcester sauce. I don't know how to say it. Worcester, this goes in, and you should put about 4 or 5 dashes in there, or more than that. I like a lot of it. Did you know there are anchovies in there? Did you know there's anchovies in there? There's anchovies in the sauce. Just saying. 1 more for good measure. 2 more. I really like Worcester, whatever sauce. I'm going to put some horseradish in it. Yes, prepared real horseradish. And that's the thing that maybe I'm going to want to shake it pretty well to get it shook up. You know, start small, just saying, because you could be like, oh my God. Oh. And we don't want to waste our alcohol here. We want to make sure we get a good drink. You know, you might even start by, this makes a great Virgin Mary, although I don't like that name. I don't call it a Virgin Mary. I'm down with the Aussies. They call it a bloody shame when you don't put alcohol in it. So like sometimes when I'm flying, you know, I'll just ask for, they have Mr. and Mrs. T's mix, which is, you know, pre-made, and it's really good. And I just ask for it like that. Oh, wait, I want to do something else. So I also like, lemon is typical, but I like lime a lot. So I'm going to squeeze a half of a lime in there. I don't have my squeezer. I'm doing this with my hands and I'm not doing a great job. And then I'm going to squeeze a little lemon in there as well, because the citrus cools off some of the heat that you're putting in there. Okay, now we got to give this baby a good shake. How's it going there? Really hot today. Max wants to go to the beach. I think we will after this, after I drink this baby down. Okay, so now my glass is all prepared, and I've got the kind of bacon salted rim. I got 2 slices of bacon in there. I've got a celery stick, which is a classic, right? And the pickled asparagus. And then we're going to strain it into there just to keep the ice, more ice from going in. I've got my Grand Rapids Beer City glass that I'm using. It's good to use like a pint glass, an American pint glass, 16 ounces, because you want to have room to put all that stuff in there. And then I'm going to take my little garnishes. And here's my like meat and cheese garnish. Put that over the top. And a little lime wedge, just for fun, because I do like the lime in there. Like I said, whatever you want, you put in there. Now, you may see this. Jude, what's that? That in my Founders glass. Founders, by the way, is in Grand Rapids, and it's a brewery, is a beer back. Beer back, Jude. That doesn't sound familiar. It might not, because it's specifically Midwestern. So when you get a Bloody Mary, you often get a beer back. That means a little beer. This is a little one. This happens to be, sorry, I love it. This happens to be Dragon's Milk from New Holland Brewery in Holland, Michigan. So it's a stout. When I was in London, there was a pop-up place called the Bloody Oyster. Now that's a disgusting name, but you could do like little oyster shooters with their Bloody Marys. So I got a Bloody Mary. Unfortunately, it was in a plastic glass, but you know what? You didn't have a choice because it was like out in the square. And it was outstanding. And they had like a little tube with it. I said, what is that? And they're like, that's Guinness. So it was like a little beer back. And they said, we like to put it in there. So, you know, the beer back, usually you drink it, but I put it in there and it's outstanding. And so then I read about the history of beer back, and nobody really knows. But some people said, well, you know, you get your Bloody Mary really strong and then you water it down with some lager by pouring it in. This is not watering it down, because that particular beer right there is 12.5% alcohol by volume or something like that. But I like the stout in there. And if you can find even like a smoky beer, like a German Rausch beer, I don't know if I said that right, or Germany makes a Marzen, and they're smoky, it tastes like meat, that would be outstanding in there. So this is a Midwestern thing. If you go to the Midwest and you get a Bloody Mary and there's a little beer with it, don't be surprised. So here it is, folks, in my Grand Rapids Beer Capital of America glass, or Beer City, the Judy Hutchinson's homemade Bloody Mary. Let's try it. That's the hair of the dog. Oh man, is that good. So you can make it any way you want. You know, experiment with it. You know what, if you don't like tomato juice, I would suggest doing a mimosa in the morning, or a screwdriver. But this is a darn good drink to start the day with if, you know, you're not working. So enjoy it. Who knows next time what I might be doing. I'm looking at the whiskey sour with a little egg in it. So hope to see you then. Thanks for joining me on Boozin with Jude. You guys have a great one.